forgotten more than I'll ever know, but it's hard to go back to the beginning to tell somebody this is where you start.
Right.
But the most basic place to start is get it out of your mind that you're going to sell anything.
Yep.
You're not selling anything. You are solving problems.
No, you have challenges. I don't even use that word problem. I never use that. I have no problems.
Okay. That's
challenges.
Good. Yep.
I could
the mindset.
I could show you a forceful tactic that closes 100% of the time. Would you like a demonstration?
Let's see it.
Yes, please. Yes, please.
I did it.
Yeah, go, Brady, go.
Since we have a big group watching anyway. So anyway, the secret sauce from the Gotti is why do people fail in network marketing? The 8 reasons. And I'm going to give you the 8 reasons. Number 1, they approach family and friends. Number 2, they ask everyone that they know. Number 3, they have no solid plan. Number 4, they try to sell a product or service. Number 5, they don't, can't read my own writing. They don't determine people's needs first. Number 6, they spam links. Number 7, they don't develop relationships. Number 8, kind of 2 in 1, they don't give value and train others to duplicate. So if we kind of go back over each one, number 1 was they approach family and friends, which I think we're all culprits of that, because when you get into a network marketing company, you're trained, make your list of 100 people, family, friends, whoever you know, make that list and hit every one of them. And I think we all do it. I know I did it. And from the very beginning, 4.5 years ago, from the first time I did that, that turned all my family and friends off. First off, it pissed off some family. They don't want to listen to me anymore, because people do change companies and they change what they're going to do. They might start out in the MLM, then they move on to coaching, and here your family and friends are already saying, yeah, look at this guy, back and forth, doesn't know what he's doing, and you just turn them off. And certainly that happens with friends. Number 2, they ask everybody, and I'm talking about, unless you are, I can't remember his last name, Caesar, a real salesman and a closer, you can't just walk down the street and approach every person you see. You can't go into the grocery store and approach the person in line and the cashier and the bag boy, and every one of these people look at you like you've got 3 eyes and a horn sticking out of your head, and they say, get lost. So not only are you never going to make friends, you're going to lose all your friends. So it's probably not the best idea to do. Number 3, people don't have a solid plan. So many people, like myself, and probably everybody, sees Joe Blow online, flashing the cash, the jewelry, sitting on a beach with a laptop, thinking, laptop luxury lifestyle. And that's what you're going to do. You're going to get the money. And that's the downfall, the pitfall right there, because it's not going to happen. Not until you learn how to do it. Number 1, learn the skills. Number 2, learn the mindset and adjust your mindset in the way of thinking that you're solving problems first. The money will come later. Number 4, they try to sell a product or a service. And this kind of goes with 2 and 3. You cannot sell. You just can't sell. You have to be known, liked, and trusted first before anything else is going to happen. Number 5, they don't determine a person's needs. So the best thing to do is shut up and listen. If you don't know what a person needs, you can't very well offer them your product or service because it may not coincide with what they need. And if you don't know it, you're going to blow a relationship right off the start. Number 6, people spam their links. And everybody does this on social media. And for the people that don't know, and I know we know what this is, people new to the business don't know what a link is, but it is a domain name or a link that directs you to a product or a service that's in a post online, on social media, on Facebook, LinkedIn, any one of the social media platforms. But newbies and people getting into this think that they take a picture of a product with a link and they put it everywhere on social media, their personal page, group pages, that somebody's going to click on that link and they're going to buy your product or service. And I've said this in videos before, and I'll say it again. I will give anybody $100 that they can prove to me they made a sale by somebody just clicking a link in a group, because it's not going to happen. You can spam those all you want. Nothing is going to come from it, ever. So you can get your face out there. You can get a picture of your product out there, and that might help a little bit for exposure, but nobody's going to buy from you by spamming links. Number 7, people don't develop relationships, which is a must, and that goes back through all of these. Yes, you have a relationship with your family and your friends, but you don't want to blow it by shoving product down their throat or services that they're not interested in. And everybody on the face of the earth is the same way. They don't want to be sold to, unless you are that good and you really know how to talk to people and get in real quick and close the sale and get out. But that's really not the way to do business. Not if you want to have long-term relationships with people. And number 8 was they don't give value first or train others to duplicate. So always give value first through picture posts, videos, podcasts, whatever you're doing. Don't even talk about product. Talk about yourself, talk about the weather, talk about your dog. Do anything but talk about product and service. And let people get to know you first. Some are going to like you and many are not. But once they do know and like you, they will begin to trust you. And don't break your word on whatever you say. And train other people to duplicate that same type of process. Give value first. And that's my 8 reasons people fail at network marketing.
Yay. There's one other thing you can add in there too that people don't tend to do. So many people are hooked on the word, I have to be a salesman, you know? They think they have to sell, and they don't know how to sell. They need to get that out of their mind, throw it away, file 13, garbage, gone. If you can find a way to simply tell people, you know, gosh, I've tried this stuff. Look what this is doing for me. You know, and just simple little cliches here and there throughout things, you know, and, you know, just casually talking to someone, man, my skin feels so much smoother. Must be that blah, blah, blah I'm using. Oh, well, and continue on with the conversation. You know, you've got to show value and value alone of your product before you go anywhere near some kind of sale.
Yeah, I agree.
So many
100%.
people don't do that.
And I'm sure there's many, many more reasons why people fail than just 8 of them. But those are the 8 that I picked out that I just had notes on. So that's why.
Now, that was great, Brady. But yeah, it just kind of brought that whole thing to me that, you know, people are so afraid of the word sell. You know, I have to sell something. And
well, because
when I talk to anybody or train somebody, I try to get them off of that note. Totally. Get away from it. You know, you're not going to sell somebody.
Well, and because we're in this group, but because we have other things going on, and each one of us may have other things going on, that does pertain to everybody, but in particular to what we're doing with LifeWave as people come in, because we're going to have people coming in that don't know the first thing about any of this.
Right.
They just wanted to try the product. Now, and it's even, I'm sure it's harder for Mark. You've probably forgotten more than I'll ever know. But it's hard to go back to the beginning to tell somebody this is where you start.
Right.
But the most basic place to start is get it out of your mind that you're going to sell anything.
Yep.
You're not selling anything. You are
Yeah.
solving problems.
No, you have challenges. I don't even use that word problem. I never use that. I have no problems. I have
That's good.
challenges.
Yep.
I could
That's the mindset.
I could show you a forceful tactic that closes 100% of the time. Would you like a demonstration?
Forgotten more than I'll ever know, but it's hard to go back to the beginning to tell somebody this is where you start.
Right.
But the most basic place to start is get it out of your mind that you're going to sell anything.
Yep.
You're not selling anything. You are
Yeah.
solving problems.
No, you have challenges. I don't even use that word problem. I never use that. I have no problems. I have
That's good.
challenges.
Yep.
I could
That's the mindset.
I could show you a forceful tactic that closes 100% of the time. Would you like a demonstration?
Sure.
Get up by now, I'm going to blow your head off.
Yeah, I was going to say, I'll go get my gun.
Exactly. It's a forceful tactic. It's a 1 minute and 12-second demonstration. You want to see it?
Yeah, go ahead.
Right, go ahead.
Love boat.
Little thing.
Size of that trunk. Look at the size of that trunk. You could put 3 bodies in there.
It's in here.
This kid just trying to levitate the situation.
Okay, thank you.
That's at a casino, is it not?
What kind of car you used to drive anyway?
It's a Lexus 430 LS.
That's like a Toyota.
It's a Lexus.
Yeah, Toyota, Lexus, same thing. Japanese, right? Let's not forget Pearl Harbor. Anyway, let's get serious. You want to buy this?
I love it.
I don't know. We have to think about it.
Yeah, what's there to think about? I mean, you told me you liked it. You asked me 10,000 questions. I answered every single one of them. You drove it. You love it. What more do you need to know?
It's a lot of money, and we just need the time to consider it.
Consider it. Well, why don't you consider this? You've been breaking my balls for about an hour, asking me about it.
What about the light? What about this?
You
What
cannot
about
talk
this?
to customers like that.
You're not a customer as far as I'm concerned. You want to buy the car or not?
Not from you. I want to see the manager.
You want to see the manager?
Yeah.
Yeah? I'll show you the manager. Here's the manager. Right here. Here's the manager. What, you want to talk to him? What should I do? Throw him out. You hear him? He just said throw him out. He's the boss. What should I get? Tell him to get a Honda. Hey, he just said it. He's the boss.
That's how you sell.
That's just like David Wood in that video I have. He's crazy.
Brady, we were close, but that was 100 times better.
I was trying that with the patch.
I grew up on a car lot, and so my grandpa was in car sales for like 50 years. That's classic. Oh my God.
Do you just want to watch that David Woods thing? I can share it if you want.
I was going to say one more thing, Brady, that I think stops people from being successful too is ego. And ego can go both ways. So like, I'm really good and I'm going to, it turns people off. But I think the bigger part of ego that people go through is comparitis, where they compare people who've been in the business for a long time, and they just kind of start telling themselves they're not good enough or those sorts of things, or they start hearing, just that negativity, where mindset is a big part of the game.
And that's where having a group like this, whether it be the mastermind group or it be Carol, the Kingsley group or the secret group, whatever group you're in, where you have other people that understand and they're all at different levels and can bring everybody together and teach.
Well, it's like dating, isn't it? You're not going to grab that before you say hello.
You know what it has always got me with MLM is all these upper ranking in sales end up telling you how to take, you have to follow this pattern of recruiting, and they're telling all the new recruits this, make a list of 100 people, blah, 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 blah. But the thing is, they didn't do it themselves. They didn't get up there that way.
Exactly.
That's
You know, they're telling everybody to do it this way, but they did it totally different.
Right.
Yep.
Because they don't know
very
what they're doing. They're following a book.
Yeah.
I think one of the major things that I'm sitting here listening to you guys talking about, building rapport and getting, not being friends, not shoving things down people's throats. I think one of the biggest things that you have to remember is that people don't want to hear about the product. They don't want to hear about what it is you have. What they want to know is, how is it going to help me? What is the benefit for me to do this with you or anybody else for that matter? And I think one of the other biggest, biggest things for me in turning somebody from, listening to me to wanting to be, to be a part of it. I think you have FOMO, that fear of missing out. It's like you talking to them about it. But the other thing that gives them relief is that if it works and you think it's something for you, great. If it's not for you, that's okay too. Giving everybody an out, some way to say that this may not be for me. And if it's not, that's okay. But if you know somebody else that might want to do that, or if somebody you think of that would want to be a part of this or have something like this in their lives, then I'd appreciate the referral. But telling people what it does, not what it is, has been a very big game changer just for me in what we do on a day-to-day basis. And I not only incorporate that with my at-home business, but I do it with a lot of other things as well.
I don't know what you're selling, but I'm buying.
Well, great. I'll send you the information. So, but yeah, just kind of, it's all about building that comfortability, that trust. And if people will trust you, that's the big issue. If they trust you, then that's one of the things that will help you get a bit farther ahead. I have found that I didn't realize this. I walked around kind of naive Nelly, that people trusted what I did. People watched what I do. And it's like, I didn't realize that a lot of people did that. And I was just like, naive Nelly, not paying attention, I guess, to what was going on around me. But people trusted what I do. It's like, if Margie is doing that, then I need to pay attention.
Yep.
And
well, I had through Facebook, and since I've been doing this last few years, and of course your name gets out and further. When I was in California, I owned a restaurant for 20 years. And I didn't own it 20 years. I owned it for about 8 years, but I worked in it from the ground up until I was the owner. I went through a lot of people. And as assistant manager, owner, I probably had 80% of the crew with me for those 8 years that never left. And I had 50 employees, with 35 of them being college-aged girls. So I had to be, this is back in my party days, of course, right before I got married. And while I was married, I wasn't messing around with anybody, but maybe saying my actions and words I said, I at times thought that I was coming off either too gruff, too strong, too sexual, too whatever could be misconstrued. Mm-hmm. Well, I had a girl that worked for me for 8 years. She started there when she was 18. She's now 42, and she contacted me on Facebook, and we started sending some pictures back and forth of the restaurant. Then a couple more people that knew me from the restaurant jumped in on the conversation because they all live in California yet. Well, a couple of weeks ago, she sent me this little kind of a long message that just blew me away and told me that for as long as she lives, she will remember me for the type of man I was there, the motivator, the person that taught them, just a great mentor, and just said all these great things about me. And I was shocked because when I was doing that, I wasn't looking at myself in that light. Mm-hmm. And now this many years later, I'm looking back thinking, I wonder how people remember me. So it was nice to hear from somebody that remembers me as a mentor, a motivator, nobody that was over the top with anything really.
Mm-hmm.
So it was really nice to hear. So yeah, you do have to pay attention to what you say and your actions because people will remember it forever.
They'll remember what you say and they'll remember more of how you made them feel than they do the words that you cut them with.
Yeah.
It's how you made them feel that will determine their overall outcome. I have done so many different jobs. I've been in transportation. I've been in healthcare. I've been in hospice care. I've done human resources. I've sold tile out of a warehouse, all of these things. And the one job that I felt like I really didn't give my employees everything that they deserved was when I was in transportation. I actually looked at one person because I was the single person in the office and she had a child and the child was sick. I looked at her and it's like, not my problem. Find the babysitter for the brat, get your butt into work. Not my problem. You sign up to work. You need to get here. I didn't realize the gravity of those statements until I had my own children 10 years later.
Yeah.
I went and found every single one of my old employees, all of them. I called them and I apologized for being such an asshole. Because I was. And what's amazing,
Killer, isn't it?
yeah, and what's amazing is that they looked at me and said, I really didn't see you that way. I said, are you kidding me?
Yeah.
I was horrible. I was mean. I was hateful. I was demanding. I was all of those things that I did not want in somebody in my space. And I said, it wasn't right. I can't give it back to you. I can just tell you that I apologize for treating you so poorly and I should have known better. And it gave me a great lesson going forward because having children, I don't care who you are, even if they're not your children, they're someone else's, they bring you great humility. Great humility.
Yes.
And it makes a big difference in how you proceed in other things. But it was nice to hear that these people told me, we saw you as a strong, independent, reliable, caring, and compassionate employer. They didn't see me as a mean, hateful, nasty bitch that I saw myself as.
Thank God. Right?
When you're in management, the big thing is whether you're fair. That's I always found. It doesn't matter how hard you are or anything else. As long as you're fair, people recognize that.
Well, maybe that's true.
I think for us, for many of us in here, our age do understand that, and it's easy to say that you have to have compassion and empathy. But when you're in your 20s, 30s, you don't have children, you're learning the craft. Like I went from bartender to assistant manager to owner. And I was always striving and pushing myself for that next level. And I didn't care who was in my way. And 50 employees, you didn't show up for work. It's like, okay, fine. You don't show up. You don't work here anymore. No consideration to what the problem was.
Mm-hmm.
And I know that I did it to this particular person also, but she doesn't remember me that way, which I feel grateful for. And I did apologize to her. She said, there's no apologies.
I was kind of fortunate. My father was in management, so I learned a lot from him. So yeah, I didn't have to do that. But I started at the bottom. I worked as a shipping clerk and worked my way all the way up to top management. I one step at a time, but it was the best way of learning. And
when I was a chef, I was a bit of a nightmare. Two favorite things to say to a waitress was, I do the walking, you do the talking. No, if they were giving you any lip. And the other one was, what was the other one? I can't remember. So
my way, thy way.
That's how nasty I was to people.
My way, the highway. Yeah, my mother used that all the time. It's my way or the highway.
But all chefs have that kind of attitude, though.
Your way.
Maybe not my daughter, but I would say most do.
Oh, I said that you're a waitress, aren't you? Well, just fucking wait. They're demanding your food. Oh, it's popular.
I was in sales for 40 years. I mean, if it was out there, I sold it or, whatever. But the reason why I was so successful in sales, and these were eyeball to eyeball, walking the street selling things for different organizations or companies or whatever, is I always retained my previous sales. So my sales were always growing and growing. And a lot of people, they'd get envious of that. Carol, will you come with me on this sales call? Or will you call this person for me? All this. And I didn't have time. I'm sorry, I'm too busy. But my success came from one thing only. And that was that I wasn't your typical salesman. I didn't go in there and BS them or, try to push them into something I knew that they really didn't want. I always listened to their needs first. I'd go in, we'd have a casual conversation or whatever. And 9 times out of 10, I waited for them to say, well, what brought you here anyway? We'd laugh and oh, well, okay, if you want to hear, blah, blah, blah. But I was always straight with them. I was always honest with them. I would never give them something more than what I knew that they needed yet at the time. And that grew that relationship. And I could always go back the following year after year to retain that sale. And they would always buy more and more. So for me, it's always been being natural, being human, being real, and being honest, and not try to shake somebody into something that they're really not ready for.
Yep.
Totally agree with that. Yeah, the more honest and straight you can be with someone, you got it made.
Agree.
That was 40 years doing that. And that's all I did. Sales, all kinds of different sales of different things, which I won't get into, but
it's all about integrity.
Yeah. And they see through that when, you're talking to a salesperson or whatever, they can tell if you're being honest with them or not.
Sure. When it comes to even, I've been in MLM, and any product that I've promoted, I don't sell it until I try the product.
Right. Till you know
If I don't believe in the product, I will not sell it.
Exactly.
Right. I don't care if I could make a ton of money. I won't sell it.
Right. But you can't be straight about it.
Right. I can't be straight.
Exactly.
I tried that once. I was doing a high ticket program where you're just basically selling the program to sell the program to sell the program,
Yeah.
type of thing. And, and it wasn't a cheap thing, your entry level was at $3,000, up to $20,000. And I just found it very hard to do because of the fact that I felt so dishonest, because all you're doing is selling something to sell something again. And you're not really selling anything that's usable. It's just selling something to make money. That's it. And I just couldn't do it.
It's something that everybody can use. And it's something good, and it's something that helps your body, and there's positivity in it and reality in it. That it's easy to, I hate using that word sell. It's easy to show other people what this is. I hate using the word sell.
Well, there was a day way back when, and Mark knows about, because he was in vacuum cleaner sales service. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I didn't know how to do anything except work on the airplanes. And I wasn't going to do that because came out of the service disabled anyway. So I got into the sales of vacuum cleaners. And back then, I was just a young, egotistical, 22, 23-year-old, thought I just had the world by the, whatever, to go knock on somebody's door in a cold call. That was nothing to me. I'd do it. And they get ready to slam the door in my face. I stick my foot in the door and then get in and whip out the vacuum cleaner. Next thing you know, you're in there talking to the people, and the wife's like, oh, I love it. And the husband's saying, we don't need it. It's too expensive. But Bob, didn't you promise your wife the moon, the stars, before you got married? Geez, okay. And then he writes the check, and uses those kind of closes. But over the last 40 years, I've lost all that and gained humility and gone through life. And I just don't have that type of attitude anymore. So it's hard to do that to people. And I believed in that product 100%. And I believe in this product also, but I don't have that kind of sales mentality. I wouldn't do that to anybody right now. I wouldn't get on a Zoom and say, look, you looked at the product, you wasted my time for an hour. Didn't you promise whatever, you're going to take care of your health, your body? You need this. Where's the checkbook? I just couldn't approach somebody like that now.
Right. No, I could never either. No. Not a good way to earn friends at all.
Well, some people feel, well, I'm never going to see you again, so.
Yeah, right.
Except if you're on social media, you're going to be seen again and again.
Yeah.
I just relived my whole vacuum sales there in a second. I remember every call. I remember every living room I stepped in. I loved it.
Yeah, I did too at the time.
With the demo and don't worry, I'm just going to clean your house for free. That was my in. And then it was over. Oh, it was so much fun. It was fun. I loved it. I love the hard sales. The almost impossible ones, like
the ones that give you a challenge.
Oh, I'm always down for that. Selling plastic trees to office buildings and like lobbies and stuff, like plastic decorative trees. That was the craziest. It's super hard to do. You're not even dealing with the doctor. It was fun.
Yeah.
Did them all. Vacuums though, eh? Vacuums are the best.
I must have been good at the time because the guy I was working for, he had, we did these once a week. We'd bring in the whole crowd. He'd run the ads in the newspaper, bring the crowd in the same way I came in, go through that morning meeting, and you take a break and only half the people come back. You go to lunch, only half those people come back. And I was the one that showed up after lunch, and I'm thinking, man, look at me. I'm probably going to get this job. And then he pulls out the vacuum cleaner. I'm like, what the hell am I getting myself into?
You got it.
But the way he did it, I fell in love with it. And I said, I've got to do this.
Yeah.
And then he found out that I really could do it. And I found out I really could.
Yeah.
So I would take these guys out on these calls with me. He'd say, take Billy with you. He's the new guy. Okay.
Yes, sir.
I remember going down to the nastiest part of town area where I lived. And you knew the houses were just going to be filthy, filthy, dirty. And this guy's tagging along with me. And you're thinking, these people have no money. They're not going to buy a machine for $500. Not going to happen. I go up there and knock on the door. The woman answers, I don't want any of this. And this guy's right next to me. And she gets ready to slam the door. I put my foot in the door and it couldn't shut. I said, Dad, come on, don't come in. Just take a couple minutes. I'm going to clean your carpet for you. Do you have a vacuum cleaner? Oh, yeah. And this guy's standing back there. His eyes are like this big. And then we get into the house. I start cleaning the carpet. And this guy kind of bumps me and says, I got to go. I can't do this. This is way out of my ball. I said, go, get it, go. Ended up, these people, old Slavic couple, they go into the bedroom and come back out. And the guy's counting off $100 bills and buys the box that I've got right there. I was like, holy crap. I would never expected.
Boom.
Never judge, eh? I got the same thing. All the low income houses.
Yeah.
Mine was $1,500. I worked with Filter Queen and Kirby. So
you're younger than I am. So back then, $500 was a lot of money.
Bro, you'd walk in, you'd be like, they could never afford this. But the sales, the relationship always worked.
Mm-hmm.
It's the relationship.
Yeah.
Just a little compliment. Just the techniques.
Yep.
Compliments on the decorative house and all the little stuff. It's the details, eh?
Oh, and I remember the one couple that had the daughter that was so allergic to dust and this and that, just couldn't breathe. And I said, well, here, I can fix that for you. And I showed a little filter in the back of the machine. I pull it out, suck up the dirt. You see how dirt? Now watch this. Put a clean one in, suck up a clean part of the carpet. See how clean it is? Oh, I've got to have that for her. Well, sign right here.
Yeah, man. Awesome.
And
awesome.
when you were selling them, did you have to get their old vacuum from them?
No.
For discount on the price? Well, that's how they do it now. I got mine for $700 or $800 and gave them my old one.
Is there
the
such
rainbows,
a thing as a door-to-door salesman anymore? I've never seen them.
No. Anybody here old enough to remember the Fuller Brush Man?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I've still got a pot in this kitchen that my mother bought, a set of pots back in the late 50s, probably the year I was born. those things lasted forever until the day she died. She said that was the best investment she ever made in her whole life. From a traveling salesman, knocked on the door, she bought those pots. And my dad was pissed. And they had them for as long as they were married until they died, and I still have one of them.
Yeah, awesome. Well, guys, I think I'm going to cut out. It's 10:30. We're going to go to 10.
We're good?
Thank you. Thank you, guys.
Thank
Bye.
you, guys.
I'll put the replay
Always a
up,
good time
tonight.
hanging out with y'all.
For sure. Thank you, Margaret.
Yeah.
Thanks, everyone.
Bye, guys.
See you
Thanks,
around.
guys.
Bye, guys.
Bye, guys.
See you in secret.
I want to see how long Eugene hangs around.
Oh, I'm early yet. I can have plenty of time.
I'm going.
What have I got?
Bye, y'all.
Oh, it's only 3:30. We're all right.
1, 2, 3, 4. Everybody dropping out. Okay, I'll go. See you guys later.
Bye.
Bye.
Who's gonna last the longest?